So, I messed up this piece, and now I need to redraw it. So, over the past, 2 days, I've been working on this. It's the art of weaving, so the magical art that the shepherds have, the touch. And I'm just kind of trying to, do a little piece capturing the process behind how it's done. And I have a very specific vision, when I'm describing it in my book about how it's done, and I've done a couple of rough sketches, but this was supposed to be the sketch for my actual novel, and it was going really, really good. I really liked the hand placement. I really enjoyed kind of the way that it was coming out, the lighting that I had going on it, but when it got to the actual magical properties of the enchantment being placed into the stone, I didn't really know where I was going, how to do it with ballpoint pen. There was just a lot of uncertainties that I had about it. And in this process of drawing this kind of first iteration, I realized pretty early on that this might not be going the way that I wanted it to. But, that's, when you're an artist, you just kind of have to be brave and take chances. And in this specific instance, it didn't really pay off, at least within this piece. I now know exactly the direction that I want to go. But these tendrils, it's doing a good job kind of weaving into the stone a little bit, but they're way too thick for what I envisioned going on. And the way that the process of weaving is described in my novel is what you are doing is you are taking an inanimate object and then you are setting a projection of that object, like an identical one-to-one projection above it, and you are making sure that projection is completely identical, completely perfect, and fits the mold of whatever it is below that projection, in this case, the stone. And then the magic, the enchantment, the spell kind of absorbs whatever it is that you are attempting to enchant. And so that's a very, very, very rough description of the process. I go in much greater depth, and I'm a lot more articulate in my novels. And the process is supposed to be very rhythmic. One of the ways that I describe it in my book is, as a musician plucking his strings. And I think that the finger work within this piece, especially this top hand that I've been doing, does a good job of that. But I don't think that the flow of the magic really follows that well. And I think that what I boiled it down to was when I'm playing with a ballpoint pen, you're playing a lot with negative space. You have to. That's the only way that you can really get value from a ballpoint pen, is you just have to be very deliberate with how you use your negative space. And I think I was doing a good job with kind of these loose swirls to delineate the magic from the more physical pieces, but the lines, they're just way too thick. The actual tendrils themselves of magic coming onto the stone, they're too thick. And I think that I did a good job with the upper piece, the projection of the stone. I think that that's pretty good, but actual pieces as they're weaving around the stone, I just hate the way they look. I do not like the way that they're going. I have now a direction in my head about how I want to do it, but unfortunately, you're not taking this back. It's a ballpoint pen. This is theirs day. So we are going to scrap it and pretty much redraw the exact same piece. And I have done that. I've done that many times before. Truly one-for-one copies, because I was doing great. I had a really good core. My sketch was good. The anatomy was good, whatever. I for hours, I was going exactly the direction that I wanted to, and then I just made a mistake. And I chased the mistake and just kind of dug myself deeper into a hole, and now there's no saving it. And that can happen extremely fast when you're working with ballpoint pen. So that's where we're at with this drawing now. I'm not really emotional about it. This, like I said, this is far from the first time I've ever had to do this, and I'm nowhere near as into this piece as I have been for some others. Like there was once a piece that I had truly been working on for 210 hours, and a couple wrong strokes made me have to redo the entire thing. Like there's less traditional ways that you can like fix those mistakes, but I am a traditionalist when it comes to my drawings, and I like it to be completely authentic. So yeah, sometimes you just you gotta take responsibility for what you've done. But I think that it's really fun. I think that it's really fun that I do get to do this, because it's mine. Like, everything that I am seeing in my head as I am writing these books, I can present visually to you. You being my readers, anyone who reads my book. Like, there's kind of one of the beauties behind being a writer and being an author is there's a level of interpretation and a certain amount of credit that you have to give your reader. You are expecting them to envision something a certain way, and it is your job to describe whatever it is that you are describing, to paint a picture with words appropriately. But I also think that there's some merit, and there's some really, I don't know, there's just kind of a cool experience when I do, like, just that I have the ability to show you exactly what I am picturing in my head. And if I start to draw something and it doesn't fit really what my vision of it is, I scrap it, and then I am able to reevaluate, re-render, redraw it, and present it to you. Like, it seems like probably the most, I don't want to say authentic, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it's certainly one of the most practical ways I can display what I'm speaking of to my reader. Again, I have to play a dangerous game here, because like I have put a lot of time into building a technical proficiency when it comes to art, and I don't want the art necessarily to take away from my words, in that I don't want my writing to suffer because I'm a half decent artist. Like, I don't want to, like, that's something that I've actually caught myself doing, and my editor had that critique with me, is that like sometimes if I know that I'm describing a character that I will have a picture of in my book, I don't do a good enough job of describing it. Like, that exposition would not stand on its own without the picture. And what if you're listening to my book on audiobook? What if you're blind and listening to my book? You won't get that. It's up to me as the author to feed that to you appropriately. So I think that it's just a good thing for me to understand as I endeavor to kind of make sure that these drawings don't overshadow my work, but they augment it. So yes, we have to redraw this piece. So sad, but like I said, I'm kind of unemotional about it. I've had to do this many times before, and yeah, that's about it. That's what we're doing right now. Thanks, guys.